Swatantra Party, Namaste. I am making an appeal to the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi ji. Mr. Modi, I have been a great supporter of yours from the time you became CM in Gujarat in 2000 or 1999. I stand corrected about the year, but I know in 2002 you stood for the election, assembly elections, and this took place sometime in November or December of 2002. And that time itself, I had predicted that you would one day become the Prime Minister of this country. There are a lot of people who made fun of me when I said this, but I have till today never gone wrong in my predictions. Leave that aside. I met you in 2011 in Chennai when you came for the inaugural ceremony, of swearing in ceremony of Madam J. Jayalalitha when she became the Chief Minister. And I met you in the Taj Coromandel Hotel, and I was the only one outsider other than your party member who met you. You did speak to me very sensibly then, and I was quite impressed, thinking that out of all the politicians that I have met in this country, me myself being a politician and my grandfather, I come from a political family where my grandfather is a freedom fighter, and we have contributed to the freedom struggle of this country. And my grandfather also happens to be a signatory to the constitution of this country, of India. So I was telling you that, and then I was telling you about this chip, this for the computers and for all the telephones. You told me that please come and set up the industry in Gujarat, and you said I don't have to meet you, but I could call up to your secretary, and you gave me the number. Unfortunately, your secretary was never picking up that number, and I couldn't get to you. And after that, I was supposed to meet you in 2014, January or February in Ahmedabad, but due to some reasons, I couldn't meet you, and it went off. Then you finally, I think, when I met you in 2011, I remember I told you that you will be the next Prime Minister of this country, and you did look at me with a sarcastic smile, and I did tell you that my predictions have never gone wrong, and you will become the Prime Minister of India in 2014. Just as I said, or maybe it was your destiny or your fate, that you have become the Prime Minister of India in 2014. I expected a lot from you. I really expected a lot from you, because you do not have a family, and you gave a picture that you were a very non-corrupt person and that you were a Deshbhakt. All that was what wanted me to, I was wanting to support you. But your ministry, the day you announced your ministry, that day itself I lost whatever hope I had in you. Leave that aside. I wrote a letter to you in June 2014. I don't know the word called Swachh, because I'm not well versed in Hindi, but then I did write a letter to you about Clean India, saying that I'm sure you, as an RSS Swayam Sevak or Rashtra, whatever as an RSS worker, you would have walked in the streets of Delhi and you would have seen the dirt and how dirty the city is, and it's supposed to be the national capital. Fortunately, unfortunately, in August 2000, maybe it was August 2014, I was traveling to Punjab, and I had to take the train, and the railway station was so dirty. That is when I wrote to you the second time about Clean India, and I said how dirty these roads and these railway stations are. And suddenly I see one day that you have announced this Swachh Bharat on 2014, October 2nd. I was just thinking, if it was really your idea, why was Gujarat so dirty? In 2014, January, February, when I visited Ahmedabad, and I was traveling actually in the international airport of Ahmedabad, the airport was so dirty, and your city was so dirty, Ahmedabad, except the two roads where the Sabarmati is flowing. I was impressed with that, because in 2008-9, I came for the Foundry Conference to Ahmedabad, and I was thinking, oh, you've done a great job. But I didn't travel into the whole city. these two roads. So I said, okay, you've done something like Germany, because in Germany they do, the rivers are done like that. So I was quite impressed, but I think that impression didn't last long, because the next year itself I traveled into Gujarat, the whole of Gujarat. We'll talk about it later. If Swachh is your idea, because Clean India was my idea and I wrote a letter to you, why you ruled Gujarat for 12 years, and Gujarat is one of the most dirtiest states, and if you see even now the COVID is spread so much in Ahmedabad, your COVID rates are high in Gujarat. The same thing happened in 2015 when the Haini or one of those other things came. There was a thing. I was visiting Somnath temple for the Mahashivratri, and I believe on a Shivratri, Mahashivratri, Somnath temple is flooded with people. But that particular year, maybe we were lucky, there was no crowd. We had a good darshan of the temple, but that's leaving aside that. The places, the temples, the Dwarak, we went to the Panch Dwaraka, everywhere it was so dirty. I didn't expect, and I was traveling from Rajasthan, from Udaipur, I think we drove down from Udaipur and went into Gujarat, and we traveled the whole of Gujarat by car. And I then realized that Gujarat was one of the most dirtiest states, and here you were talking about Swachh India. But it's most unfortunate that you are from Gujarat, Chief Minister who served for 12 years, and then as a Prime Minister you're talking about Swachh India. So sometimes, we should first clean our own backs before we talk about others. So you should set an example. So that was I lost all the hopes that I had on you when I saw this dirty state of Gujarat. I'm sorry I have to say this, because I want to be frank, okay? And then you kept on asking for people to write to you letters about the administration. I wrote many letters to you. There was not a single reply. Anyway, I don't expect you to reply to all the people, but at least I expect you all to look into the veracity of whatever problems we are putting forth to you. Nothing was done. I wrote so many letters to you about the bank scams which happened in UPA period 2004 to 14, but you didn't bother, and your own ministers didn't bother, because I met Mr. Venkaiah Naidu in 2014. He came to Coimbatore and he had a meeting with all the chamber members saying meet and greet, and he wanted opinion from the industrialists what we had, what problems we had. I did tell him about the situation between 2004 and 14, how the power was a big problem in the state of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, that the districts suffered for almost 14 to 16 hours of power failure, and the poor small, especially the micro and the small and the MSMEs and the farmers and traders, we all had to do business for 14 hours, no business, but the loan that we have borrowed from the bank will be increasing, that it as we say, it keeps multiplying, but then we have got no production. So when I told him that, I said, sir, what wrong did we do, the investors, for the failure of the government? It was the government's failure, both state, center, the grid was not there, and the state governments were looting and spending on unnecessary things and giving free power at the cost of the other citizens for their own vote bank politics. And I did tell Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, then he was, I think, urban development minister or something, and he said, I will definitely take up this issue with Arun Jaitley, but nothing was done. Arun Jaitley, nothing, I would have written so many letters to Arun Jaitley, and the same now, this Nirmala Sitharaman, who was the finance minister, then she was Minister of State for Finance and in charge of corporate for some time. You just one day you started, like how you have done this knee-jerk lockdown. You said we are closing down all the companies which are bogus and all. See, maybe there are many bogus companies who are, we do agree, I do agree. But then there are some genuine companies also who get into trouble for no fault of theirs. So where was the forum for those kind of people to approach and tell our problems? There was no forum. There was nobody whom we can meet. The IAS officers expect us to give them huge, kickbacks even to meet them. I remember I myself had this problem in 2011. I had a problem with the bank. I did not cheat the bank, but the bank had cheated me. And I wanted to take this issue up. And whom could I meet? I couldn't meet the then ministers. So I wanted to come and meet one IAS officer in Delhi. And there were all these agents who will fix up. We won't get the appointments with these fellows, only through the agents we get. And the agent says that even to meet the IAS officer and to say a namaste to him, I have to pay 1 crore of bribe. 1 crore of bribe, I would rather pay up, I would at least educate thousands of children, or I would pay up the little whomever I owe little bit, I will do that than to pay these IAS officers bribe money, okay. Which I tried, I tried my best, and the chairmen of the banks were all corrupt. And then that time Raghuram Rajan was not there in 2011, it was Subbarao. He was the RBI chair. I wrote so many letters to him to meet him, to tell him there is wholesale, corruption in all the banks, but nobody was there to listen to us common people. So I left it. I said, okay, fine. Then in 2014, when you closed many of the companies, I wrote to Nirmala Sitharaman, there are some companies which have problems and you can't just close down because of practical problems of no fault of us. There's a fault even from your side, from the bank side, and so many issues. So you people should have had some kind of everywhere, in every state, that people could come and tell their problems. There's nobody to listen to our problems. So I said, okay, fine. I just kept quiet. And subsequently, so many of your ministers, I think I wrote many letters to Arun Jaitley. He also didn't bother to answer. This shows your people that when you sit into that gaddi of power, you people become so arrogant. And then before that you say, we are for the poor people, and always this dialogue of, we are there for the poor people. Then what happens to all the middle class and the rich? Not all rich are bad, not all rich are good, or not all poor are good and not all poor are bad. It's a 50-50 situation where, you have good people and bad people. And stop this nonsense of saying, we are working for the poor people. You are working for the people of India. Let it be poor, rich, middle class, nothing. You are working for everyone. You serve everyone. And this is a social service. You come to power, you came, you stood for elections. We never asked you, we never begged you to come and say, please be our representative. You stood there, these people voted you, you became, that's your fate, your karma, you become, and it's our karma to have you. We accept those things, that's not a problem. But what is the attitude that you say something, you promise one thing, but you don't do it? So you people never bothered to help any of the common man. There are a lot of people, small traders who are suffering because of the wrong policies of the government. For your mistakes, we people suffer. For your bad administration, we suffer. If you didn't generate the power, we suffer. So are you compensating us for your mistakes? No. We are only facing the thing. In 2008, that government, UPA government, gave stimulus, like now how we are giving for the COVID stimulus. They gave stimulus for the recession, but actually the industries in India really didn't suffer. Because I was running an industry, I was supplying to all the major automobile industries. And really we had a boom. 2008, 9 and 10, we really had a boom period as far as those industries were concerned. But you gave stimulus for all the big companies like, Tatas, Leylands, Mahindras, and, name it, all those big companies. But we suppliers who supplied them, we suffered for even for 180 days, almost 6 months, these companies didn't pay us the interest. Didn't pay us first our dues, and then we also had to pay the interest to the bank for their delayed payment. But the stimulus was given only to those people, and the smaller people never got any stimulus. Nor do you people ever call us to talk, or we cannot even meet you all. For even all the budget meetings or everything, you only call the big corporates. The big corporates, they always use you all for whatever they want, and they have a kush or a very have very good relationship with you all, because they are part of your corruption. They are also part of your corruption. Okay. So when you all gave us stimulus, now also you all have given us stimulus. which is a waste. This 20 lakh crores which you have announced is all a big eyewash, is just a drama, a jumla. You people are just doing it. We are not fools to believe you all 100%. From July 2019, your budget, you all have made a fool of yourselves. Like, every time you're announcing, then taking back, announcing, which is all very foolish. See, the finance minister announced a rich tax. You announced a rich tax, go ahead with it. Okay, it's not going to affect anybody. It was only for people who are having a turnover of above 400 crores. I stand corrected if the number is wrong. And it is only the big corporates. And suddenly after 2 months, again you take back that, withdraw that rich tax, which was very stupid. And you gave them whatever thing about 1,65,000 crores rebate. So who was losing? The government of India was losing. And then your GDP was all low and you were trying to play games with your GDP. It's all a number game, okay? We are all aware of it. And even the stock market, we are all aware of what happens in the stock market, how they just, inflate the share prices. And then you call Mr. Ambani the richest man of the country and the other Ambani as another next to the Adani as the richest. See, how many of them really came from their riches? All of them have got the ill-gotten money of the politicians parked there with them. The senior Ambani got all the ill-gotten money of Indira Gandhi and all their ministers, and that's how they came up in life. Okay, and I've lived in this house right for the last 50 years or 60 years. It's the same lifestyle we are having. Whether we were in politics, we were not in politics, we weren't. I'm basically a farmer. I'm basically an industrialist. And we have not got that kind of ill-gotten money, nor have I ever evaded my tax thing. From the time I'm 14 years old, I've been paying taxes and been contributing to the revenue of this country. Okay, and I don't feel bad about it. I'm proud that I'm paying my taxes and I've never evaded the taxes. But how many of you politicians have paid your taxes, earned properly, and got the money that, whatever money you are showing off, your cars, when you come into politics, you come in a cycle. Then within 2-3 months, the councillor gets one Audi car. Is it possible? I have been running an industry for the last 40-50 years. I cannot afford to do this. I've been doing agriculture and I can't afford to do this. How do I get this kind of money overnight? Okay. Touch your own conscience, all you politicians. You also, Mr. Modi, you're part of that thing. How are you running your elections without the black money or without the cash that you all get from your donations and this and that? And don't tell me all your ministers are straightforward. I know many of your ministers are not straightforward, who are corrupt, and where they've got all their investments, many of them. And your state politicians, your party politicians, whether it is because I'm from Tamil Nadu, I will talk about AIDMK and DMK, all are corrupt. And from where they've all got their money? When they come into politics, they are beggars. And then overnight they become crorpatis. And then they say we are from, a Raja family, we are from a royal family. I don't know what royal they are. They're all these bloody crooks who cheat the nation, who loot the public money. They all need to, somewhere God has to teach them all a lesson. They all have to suffer. That day only this country will prosper. But Mr. Modi, I really expected a lot from you. But you seem to be very, very egoistic, that you don't want even to listen to your own party members. I know many of your party members who are saying that, he's not listening to anybody now and all that. Maybe they don't have the guts to tell you, but I would like to tell you, you might be older to me by age, but there is nothing wrong. I do have an elder brother as old as you. And as a younger sister, I would like to appeal to you that, be more humble. And the Modi that I met in 2011 was a different Modi, and I don't know whether you acted then, and a different Modi today. Be more realistic. People are suffering. The migrant workers are suffering. The industries today are suffering. We are not having workers, and there is no revenue for any business, from the small tea shop to the small mess, to the big hotel, to the big restaurants, to the industries. Everybody is suffering. The bankers are not giving any advances, are not giving any support. You know what some of the bank GMs are telling me? Modi will keep announcing, we are not bothered, we will do what we want, we don't have the money. We think we have the money. They don't say we don't. They say we have the money, but we don't want to give. So what is this then? Then why do you say that we should have our money in the banks? Why do you think, like, how do I know my money is safe? Look at the PMC loot, look at the S Bank loot. All the banks are in the same position. We know that. It is only the politicians and bureaucrats who got this money, who are the big looters of this nation. And the businessman, the common businessman does not have money. The common middle class does not have money. The poorest of poor also don't have that cash. And you politicians are just giving one, like little oxygen by giving 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees just for your vote bank politics. Instead of that, please reduce the interest rates. Please reduce the GST rates. Please have one slab of GST. Okay, and please have an SIT or some commission where the public can come and tell their problems, and please look into it. See what we are talking is the truth. We also could be talking lies, but please check up. In 2015, if I remember right, I met Mr. Manohar Parrikar in the FLO, Delhi, the FICCI Ladies Organization. And I was the last person who got the opportunity to ask him a few questions. And I told him all this about the power, the bank, everything. Then itself, I told him. I said, sir, which is the forum that the honest citizen will go and tell his or her problems? And I told him about these IAS officers, how they demand 1 crore of rupees just to meet, even to tell our problems, to tell that this is happening. So he accepted. He said, it happened when he was chief minister himself, his own secretary did that. They took 3 lakhs rupees to get his appointment. So I said, Mr. Manohar Parrikar, I am told that you are one of the best ministers in this cabinet, and I would like you to take some action. You don't have to favor me. Look into the veracity of my complaint and then take the necessary action, because there are big frauds happening in the banks and there is no forum, even the court. The courts don't bother to listen to us. And the first thing they say, you pay the money into the. How many of us have got that ill-gotten money? See, the judges, I'm sorry if I have to hurt judges, not all of them are Harishchandras, okay? Many of them, they know to their own conscience what they have paid and what they have done to get that post, okay? And there are so many of these judges, who are sitting there, and I know how badly they have treated many women, and they are judges. What is the fate of this social justice system if the judge itself is a corrupt person who has harassed women, who has raped women, and he will become the judge of the rape case? Means what kind of justice will we women get? Okay, please, I have evidence for everything that I talk, and I'm really sad and I'm feeling very bad that we expected so much from you. I personally expected a lot from you, and you are a total failure because you don't want to listen to anybody. I appreciate some of your things, some of the, the NCLT is a good proposal, the bankruptcy, but then the implementation is very badly done. See, like for example, Anil Ambani is one of the companies who owes the bank 50,000 crores, but his own brother comes forward to buy that for 35,000 crores. What about the balance 15,000 crores? This is the same thing happening with every case, and some of the bankers have personally told me, Gita ma'am, if you can write a letter to Mr. Modi. I said, I will write, I have no issues. And I have written also, but there is no response from you. The same things are happening in the DRT. The DRT is one of the places of highest corruption, and every officer there is corrupt, and the lawyers are part of this corruption, and the income tax is another place. I would request you, please send your income tax officials as in plain clothes and go to the courts and see how many of these lawyers have got BMWs, Benz cars, and how they have earned. Today in Tamil there is a word called Katta Panchayat. The lawyers have become, they are all the Katta, and they are like, the mediators to sit for solving problems out of court. And the huge money that they loot from the clients, and the fees that they charge. How many of them are paying tax? I don't know. Including P. Chidambaram's wife. P. Chidambaram, all of them, they were all corrupt. And, you people, these are the people who are in power. None of us have that kind of money to come and give you, to grease you all, and to get favors done. But then this is, I'm speaking. If tomorrow something bad happens to me, I'm not worried, because I know you politicians can't digest when people talk the truth, and you might try to attack me. I'm a little bit bothered about it. If that's my fate, I take it with I'm bold, and I always feel that whatever I'm talking, my God wants me to talk, because at least that way there's one citizen in this country who's ready to talk. I just don't want to talk like others to find fault for everything. I accept some things which you all have done is good, the 370 abrogation of 370, 35A, the NCLT has got its good points, but very badly implemented. The demonetization was one, I myself wrote to you about demonetization in June, July 2014 to implement it, and you did, but then it was so badly implemented. Your GST is so badly implemented. See, immediately after the demonetization in 2016, in November or December, you raided one of the political contractors in Tamil Nadu, one Shekhar Reddy, and you found so much of 2,000 notes there. What action have you taken? What action did you take on the chief secretary then? There was so much of money, 35 lakhs found in his office. What action have you taken? You have not taken any action, because your own people are involved with all this. So, Mr. Modi, still there is 4 years for you. I still expect that, somewhere you will reform and take in good people who will give you a feedback. I am not worried about talking, and I am not worried about telling the truth, because, I am not expecting any favors from you. See, I always believe there is a force above us who will protect us and who will take care of us. And it is my duty, I think God has also brought us into this world to speak up whenever there is wrong. Dharma and adharma, when there is adharma taking, over the dharma, then we need to talk. And I think it's my duty as a citizen of this country to highlight to you that your own politicians are also corrupt. There is so much of corruption still in this country, and you are aligning and supporting a most corrupt government in Tamil Nadu, the AIDMK, and the whole dispensation is so corrupt, and you are in alliance with them, which is very, very, I don't know what to say with all the big talk that you talk about Swachh, cleaning the government, cleaning the system. Okay, I'm sorry, sir. Please take this as a feedback. I have more things to talk, but I don't have the time. Please, if you can really do some good for this nation, stop all this dramatics, all these dramas, these slogans. Let us get to implementation. We are there with you. We support you if there's something good to be done, but not all this nonsense that is happening. And please, this COVID is not the cause for the economic, the economy has failed even before the COVID came, and your conscience knows, and all of us know that you all have failed, but you all are all the world nations are going to put the blame on the COVID. Please buck up. You hardly have any time, or this country and the world will suffer and get destroyed. Thank you.